The purpose of this NHTS Academy module is to describe the 2010 Census Boundary Update to the 2009 FHWA NHTS. Because Census changed how they define metropolitan areas between the 2000 and 2010 censuses, we are providing a file that allows NHTS users to use the updated metropolitan definitions in their analysis. At the time of the 2009 NHTS release, the 2010 census data had not yet been made available. Therefore, all geocoding was performed with census-defined areas using 2000 census definitions. The 2010 Census Boundary Update file adds geographic variables based on 2010 census definitions. For more background, we'll first discuss MSA, CMSA, and CBSA designations. We'll look at what's on version 2.1 of the 2009 NHTS, as well as how Census has changed their definitions and the NHTS's need to adopt these changes. Next, we'll look at how those changes affect the rail designation variable, which is based on MSAs. And finally, we'll look at updated definitions for census urban areas. Prior to the 2010 census, the Census Bureau defined metropolitan statistical areas, or MSAs, as areas which had an urbanized area with a population of at least 50,000 persons. Areas geographically bordering these urban areas that also had strong economic and social integration were also included as part of a given MSA. If an area had multiple MSAs geographically connected, a combined population of over 1 million, and citizens favored such a designation, a consolidated MSA, or CMSA, was created. So how does this apply to the MSA designation variable in NHTS? In version 2.1 of the 2009 NHTS, as well as past surveys, NHTS used the CMSA value of a given household if that household was in a CMSA. Otherwise, the MSA value was used. Census scrapped their existing definition structure and created new core-based statistical areas, or CBSAs. CBSAs consist of both metropolitan statistical areas, which keeps the same MSA name, in addition to smaller areas of population between 10 and 15,000 called micropolitan statistical areas. The CBSA coding scheme appears more inclusive than the previous MSA approach. Under CBSAs, approximately 50 metropolitan areas were added, with an additional 550 of the newly designated micropolitan areas were created. If two or more adjoining CBSAs have substantial employment interchange, they are combined into a consolidated statistical area, or CSA. However, unlike CMSAs, Census does not recommend using CSAs and CBSAs interchangeably. Thus, the 2010 geocode update variables based on CBSA status do not take CSA into account. This is a slight change from the use of CMSAs, MSAs created based on the 2000 census. However, such a change is consistent with the guidance from Census, with the added benefit of being slightly less confusing to the end user. So let's take a look at an example. Here you see a map of the Los Angeles metro area. The area in yellow is the Los Angeles, Riverside, Orange County CMSA according to the 2000 census definition. Other areas in light blue are smaller MSAs. And here is that same area with 2010 CBSAs. You'll notice that the CMSA from the last slide has been split into 3 CBSAs, one for Los Angeles, Long Beach, Anaheim, one for Oxnard, Thousand Oaks, Ventura, and the last one for Riverside, San Bernardino, Ontario. You may notice other areas being defined, such as El Centro, California. These represent the addition of new MSAs to Census's classification scheme. Now that we have some background, let's talk about what's on the 2010 Census Boundary Update file for the 2009 NHTS. First, we have the household identifier, or the CBSA that a household is located in. This variable is called HHCBSA10 and is a straightforward update to HH_CBSA on the version 2.1 file. Next, we have CBSA size 10, which is the population size of the CBSA, similar to what we had for MSA size in past NHTS editions. Finally, we have CBSA Cat 10, which is a CBSA-based update to MSA-CAT, which was a variable that combined MSA size with the availability of rail. The availability of heavy rail, typically a subway system, was determined by MSA and CMSA in version 2.1 of the 2009 NHTS, as well as in 2001. For this census boundary update file, Rail 10 is determined by the availability of heavy rail in a household's CBSA. This has the effect of slightly expanding the number of households with rail, since a few heavy rail lines extend into CBSAs that were not part of MSAs used for version 2.1. Finally, we come to the census urbanized areas, which are defined based on density and overall population of a given area. These areas are updated with each census, and while the boundaries may have changed somewhat between 2000 and 2010 based on changing populations, the definitions have not. So version 2.1 of the NHTS uses the 2000 census boundaries, and the 2010 census boundary update file uses 2010 boundaries. So let's take a quick look at urban areas in our map of Los Angeles, starting with those based on Census 2000. The areas in the map in blue are either urban areas or urban clusters. And here's the map for the 2010 urban areas. Some areas have grown or shrunken subtly, but other areas, like the one between San Clemente and Oceanside, that were considered urban in 2000 are no longer considered urban in 2010. Going back to the 2000 map, you can see that it was an urban area in 2000. Such changes are due to population changes in the decade between censuses. So now that we've covered what's in the file and the history behind it, how does one get the data? The 2010 census boundary file is available now and can be downloaded from the website at nhts.ornl.gov. The 2010 values can be merged into the version 2.1 dataset using the household ID variable found in both files. We hope you've enjoyed this look at the 2010 census boundary update to the 2009 NHTS. Thanks for watching.